Hey guys, I want to talk to you real quick about this affirmation project that I've been working on since my grandmother passed. I had an appointment canceled, so I have a few minutes, and I'm hoping that I'll be brief. But, I have a lot of words allotted to me today, and I don't know if I'll use them all if I don't do this, so who knows how it's going to go. This affirmation project is something that I thought of after my grandmother passed, or when my grandmother passed. You always go to funerals and you hear these wonderful things said about the person who has just departed. At my grandmother's funeral, it wasn't so structured. There was definitely a schedule because my mom planned it. So there was definitely a schedule, but within that schedule, there was a time allotted for anyone who wanted to speak, to share memories of my grandmother. So people who had grown up, around her, not with her, she was 100. So pretty much the people who had grown up with her were waiting for her in heaven. But the people who had grown up around her had stories about her. She has 2 younger siblings left. They have stories and memories. People that she had maybe done something for, people that had stayed with her, people who had become her caretakers later in life, family members, my cousins. Everyone had memories of her, myself included. And we spoke not to her, but to people in the audience that also were there to pay their respects to her memories, the memories that they had of her. And that's a wonderful thing. But truly, when you're at a funeral, you're not there for the person who's passed away. You're there for their family and their loved ones, to show your support and to share in the grief that this person is gone. But in the relaxing environment of the family gathering after the service, there were so many people that shared special memories and fun times that they had with her, things that they may have done with her. And I wondered, and not in a bad way, but I just wondered, did she know that that memory was so special to you? Did she know how important this was to you? Did you get a chance to tell her what an impact she had on your life? I mean, she spent 100 years here. She had time to do a lot of stuff. Thankfully, my grandmother and I got to talk before her mind became a very confusing place for her. And she told me she wouldn't be here long. That was a little while, like a minute or a year's before she left. But we talked about how important we were to each other and how much we loved each other. And when she passed, I wasn't there. She wasn't alone, but I wasn't there. And to be honest, I didn't stress about that as much because I didn't feel like I have to get there and tell her this. I have to say goodbye, because we had done that. And I had that measure of peace. Not to say that I didn't miss her, because I have never lived in a world without my grandmother. And that is still hard for me. It will probably be hard for me forever, because I always told her she was put on this earth just for me. And I know there are some people who will disagree, but I said it first and I meant it more. So I am still adjusting to living on a world that she is not on with me. But to know that people have these special memories that maybe they didn't get a chance to tell her or share with her made me think about why we don't tell people that they're important to us. What is it about our culture or our lives that we just don't do that? Things can change so fast. Several years, like 17, 18 years ago, my grandmother and me and my aunt, my cousin and my mom, we were hit by a drunk driver. We were driving to see my grandmother's sister, minding our business, driving along, enjoying our trip together. The 5 of us were so close, and we come over a hill and a drunk driver comes into our lane. We try to avoid the accident. We can't. We all get hit by a drunk driver. It was a really bad accident. All of us were injured. And we were kind of between little towns, no cell phone service. And by the time the first officer arrived, it had been a while. And he did say that when he pulled up on scene and looked at my truck, that he thought this was one of the accidents that nobody would walk away from. And thank God we all did. Even though every one of us had injuries of some kind, we all did. But in that situation, there were people that I hadn't told how I felt about them. Thankfully, that was before my child was born. So I didn't freak out about that part. But there were people that I hadn't told how I felt about them and how important they were to me. And there might have been people that felt that way if something had happened to me. I know there would have been people that felt that way if something had happened to my mom or my aunt or my cousin or my grandma. If they didn't come back from that trip because of that accident, there would have been people that felt that way. And I'm sure that they would have thought, I wish I had told so-and-so this or that. Why do we do that? I don't understand. And I'm saying I do that too. Why? I don't know why. Why can't we just be open and tell people how wonderful they are and how important they are in my life? I'm just going to tell you right now, for the last few years, I've chosen at the beginning of the year, I don't really do New Year's resolutions because I think it's an arbitrary date and whatever. If you decide you're going to be better, just be better. You don't have to wait until January. Just do it. But at the beginning of the year, I do choose a word that I want to work towards that year. And I had chosen a word for the year. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't really get into it, get really invested in that word. And just so you know, I am completely off track here. This is so not, a put together, well done video, but whatever. By the time February arrived and my grandmother passed away, my word for the year changed to affirmation. I want to affirm people. I want people around me to know that they're important to me. I want to reach out to people that I care about and let them know that they're important to me. It doesn't have to be a huge speech. Yeah, I have a lot of words allotted for days, but it doesn't have to be a huge speech. It can be a card in the mail. It can be an email or a text going, just thinking of you. You're on my mind. Whatever, because when I get stuff like that, it means a lot to me just to know that we are all so busy and somebody took the time out of their day to go, hey, I'm thinking about her. Wonder how she's doing. You know what? I'm just going to text her. See, I don't do phone conversations very often. I would much rather probably never talk on the phone. I would much rather just text, cards, email, whatever. But even phone conversations, I mean, they come from a place of love and concern and all of that. So those mean the world. And when somebody takes the time out of their day to have done something like that, to reach out and let you know that they care and that you're important in their life, that's awesome. And that has become my word, to affirm, affirmation for the people in my circle, in my world. We tend to save our kind words for wedding toast and graduations and funerals. Why? I don't know. I put together a list of examples that I've read about or thought of, looked up on the internet that could be used as words of affirmation for people whose first love language is not words of affirmation. Because let's face it, there are some of us whose love language is words of affirmation, and we can just talk. I know what you're thinking. We can write out stuff. We have lots of words, and we can say lots of words to you. There's some people that is not their love language. They show love and concern in different ways. It could be acts of service. It could be, man, I know you're having a tough time. in their head. And I'm going to go mow their lawn. Take that worry right off of their list. Acts of service. Whereas if it were me, I would be writing a card or, a note or something, or an email or a text, or calling them, trying to stay up and let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you every other day. I'm thinking about you, just letting them know. So people have different love languages, and kind of the way I've thought about structuring this project, this gathering, I want this to be comfortable for everybody. If you have social anxiety, you don't like giving speeches, you don't like being around large crowds, hey, I feel you. I feel you, because that is me. I am by nature an introvert. So I am going to do this in a way that no one has to stand up and talk. I mean, if you want to, fine. Nobody has to stand up and talk. People can write their notes in privacy, deliver their notes in privacy. I'm sorry, I'm waving this light around. You don't have to stand up. You don't have to feel put upon or in the spotlight in any way. So I'm going to have boxes, kind of like Valentine's Day boxes, like we did in elementary school. And I'm going to have everybody's name on them. And people can write out some sort of affirmation for them and put that in their box. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say, okay, so this speech is for, Blanca. This speech is for Mallory. This speech is for whoever. You don't have to do that. You don't have to stand up in front of anybody, because that would greatly limit the people who would be willing to come. I want this to be good for everyone, because there are so many things that we should say. We should take the time to notice and to say to each other, not just because we don't know how long each other has, but because we should be those kind of people. That's a part of ourselves that we should grow, because we need each other. We really do. So here's some sort of structure that I've kind of put together for those of you who may need some suggestions on how to use words of affirmation, maybe a jumping off point, a starting point. And I'm not saying use these word for word verbatim. I'm just saying, maybe this is an idea or a suggestion in some way that you could start to do this for these people. You can say, I admire you. You have integrity. You have this, or I admire this about you. I have a friend who has the most active integrity of anyone I know. And I have known him for years. And it's not like I have a limit of words that I'm going to run out of. I have plenty of words every day. And I have known him for so long. And I have never told him this. Why? Why have I never told him? It's not like it's a big secret that I have to keep to myself. It's not like, oh my God, I can't tell him. It's not like that. Why have I not told him that he is so... I love how... he's just got so much integrity. He will shut down a business deal if he feels the people he's dealing with don't have integrity. He shows that in his actions, his words, in his work, at home with his family. He is leading his child by example. See, I should have said that to him in some way. I could have just said, you know what? I admire so much the integrity that you have in your life, and that you are showing that to your child, and that you show that in every action you take. Because I'm a very cynical person. So when I see someone who is the same at home as they are outside, and they're not putting up a fake front, and on top of all that, they act with full integrity, I'm going to notice that. So I should tell him. It took like 30 seconds. Well, I mean, I took longer to give the example, but, if I just said that, It would take like 30 seconds, not even use a lot of words, not even put me out of breath. And I've never said it. That's so ridiculous. I'm going to tell him now. I mean, not just like on here, but I mean, in this project, I'm going to tell him that. Excuse me. Because I have not done a good job of that till now. Well, until I started thinking about this really seriously. You can tell somebody, thanks for being there for me. I mean, it could have been a text, a card, a call, a coffee, a brunch, a lunch, something, anything. They could drop off soup for you when you're sick, whatever. I appreciate you being there for me. You can say, I love spending time with you. You make me laugh. Well, that's important. It's really important. I love to make people laugh, but I love being around people who make me laugh. If I'm having a good day, that just makes it 10 times better. If I've started the day off maybe not feeling great about the day or dreading something I have to do, and somebody makes me laugh, it kind of lifts the load a little bit. It makes me have a better outlook on my day. When you say, I love spending time with you because you're fun to be with, or I love spending time with you because you make me better, that's a big one. If you're around people who don't challenge you to be better, not just in words, but just because of who they are, you might be around the wrong people. I mean, if you're around people who allow you to relax your integrity, your belief of right and wrong, who bring out negative qualities in you, that's not a good sentence, who bring out negative characteristics in you, who make you frustrated and angry and in general feel negative, you're in the wrong place. You're around the wrong people. I don't care if they're your blood relatives. You need to create some space between you and them. They could be habit friends, the friends that you've had since elementary school, high school, college, whatever. They could be habit friends. But grow up. I mean, you can grow up and put some space between them if they bring out bad things in you. Just because you fit in doesn't mean you belong. Puzzle makers make puzzles, and every puzzle is not unique. I mean, you can buy 2 500 count piece puzzles, and there's going to be some puzzle pieces that are the exact same. I can take a puzzle piece from puzzle A, put it in puzzle B, and it will fit. But it does not belong. So just because you fit in somewhere, and maybe you've been there half your life, it doesn't mean you belong there. Because when you find the people who encourage your growth, who encourage your good attitude, who encourage your ideas, who encourage your good qualities, nurture your goodness, nurture the things about you that are wonderful, who make you feel like your dreams are possible, who make you feel like you are loved and you are valued. When you find people who make you feel like that, that's where you both fit and belong. You can tell somebody their favorite thing about them, your favorite thing about them. You can say, hey, remember when? You can tell them, hey, my favorite time with you was, my favorite memory of you is. So these are just suggestions that you might use to tell somebody how important they are to you and how much you value having them in your life. And for those of you that are included in my affirmation gathering locally, I hope you can come, because I really have a lot of important things that I want to say to you.